Jazz, the accidental scientist. It started with a power outage. Jazz, age 13, sat in her room, frustrated that she couldn't charge her phone or watch videos. But that night, with nothing else to do, she stepped out into her backyard and looked up, really looked up for the first time in years. Without the usual light pollution, the sky was alive with stars. I never knew there were so many of them. Where did they all come from? Why can't we usually see them? Phase 1, Questions in the Dark. The next day, Jazz headed to the expansive green knowledge garden, where holographic books sparkled between real climbing vines and floating digital displays. It wasn't the kind of place Jazz usually spent lunch breaks, but something had shifted. The librarian, Miss Savi, noticed Jazz's lingering gaze at the constellation displays and slipped her a rare physical copy of Astrophysics for Young People in a Hurry from the archive pods. Sometimes, Miss Savi said with a knowing smile, the old ways of reading still hold the most magic. The first spark, space, and our place in it. Astrophysics for Young People in a Hurry, Neil deGrasse Tyson, the book that showed Jazz that complex science could be accessible. The Glass Universe, Deva Sobel, about the women who mapped the stars. Hidden Figures, Margot Lee Shetterly, Young Readers Edition, Building Extraordinary Science to Send Humans into Space. 2 weeks later, Jazz's parents found her building a spectrometer out of an old CD and a cereal box. It's to study light, she explained, barely looking up. Did you know that's how we know what stars are made of? We can read their light. Phase 2, The World Gets Smaller and Bigger. It was Jazz's older sibling who inadvertently pushed her toward the next scientific frontier. If you think stars are cool, wait until you learn about quantum physics, Sophia teased. Jazz wasn't entirely sure what quantum physics was, but she wasn't about to let her sister think she couldn't handle it. Down the quantum rabbit hole. Quantum physics for babies, Chris Berry. Jazz would never admit it, but this actually helped. What is real? Adam Becker, Young Readers Edition, about the strange world of quantum mechanics. Solving the Quantum Mystery, Lucy Hawking, a journey into the smallest parts of our universe. So things can be in two places at once, and observing something changes it? Mom, I think reality is broken. Phase 3, Life Finds Her. The science fair was coming up, and while everyone expected Jazz to do something with physics, she had stumbled across something else. Her grandmother had been diagnosed with diabetes, and suddenly, Jazz's interest shifted to the human body. How did it work? How did it break? How could we fix it? The Biology Revolution. The Human Body Theater, Maris Wicks, a graphic novel that made complex systems understandable. Who was Jane Goodall? Jess Brallier, because sometimes science means getting your hands dirty. Gut, the inside story of our body's most underrated organ, Julia Enders, Young Readers Edition. Phase 4, The Future Calls. By the time Jazz entered high school, she had a reputation. Not as a nerd, though some called her that, but as someone who could explain complicated things simply. She started a lunchtime science club where they discussed the latest discoveries about artificial intelligence and bioengineering. Tomorrow's questions. Code Girls Liza Mundy, Young Readers Edition, because coding is the new frontier. The Unseen World, Liz Moore, A young girl unraveling secrets with early chatbots and consciousness. Bioengineering. Discover how nature inspires human designs. Christine Virillo Kirch. Into the unknown. Science has this subtle way of making the ordinary feel extraordinary, until one day you realize you're carrying around a head full of stars, atoms, and DNA helixes, seeing them in everything from your breakfast cereal to your bicycle spokes. And maybe that's the real experiment, not the ones we do with beakers and circuits, but the way each small piece of knowledge transforms how we see the world. Last week, Jazz's young cousin asked her why the sky is blue. Jazz smiled, remembering her own first questions. Well, she said, reaching for a prism on her desk, let me show you something cool. Warning: the books listed above may cause unexpected moments of wonder, kitchen experiments, and the occasional floating breakfast. Parents, librarians, stay tuned for the next adventure. Books can be found in the description.